sat in my car outside a Walmart parking lot, phone balanced on the steering wheel, analytics app open. The numbers dipped again. My last video barely broke 200 views. Dead channel, I muttered, refreshing anyway. No spike, no miracle. A vibration rattled the dash. Emergency alert tone. Harsh, metallic, like the sky itself cracking. My cracked screen lit up. 12:34 p.m. Gas leak detected. Westfield Mall evacuated. Do not enter. I laughed under my breath. Perfect. Right when I need content. A second tone screamed through the speaker. 12:35 p.m. Evacuation complete. Mall secured. Do not enter. TikTok notifications followed immediately. Rapid fire. Hashtag Silent Mall Challenge. Dozens of clips stitched together. Influencers clowning on the alert. 1 hour inside. Come out alive. Someone was already doing edits with creepy music. I locked onto the trending tag. Videos of people pulling into the Westfield parking lot, flashing their timers, grinning like idiots. Views in the millions. All right, I said, turning the key. If they want a challenge, I'll give them a movie. The drive took half an hour. Notifications piled up the whole time. Some kid posted shaky mall footage, empty escalators, an abandoned carousel. The clip froze halfway, comments exploding. Where'd she go? Perfect. Viral bait. By the time I reached the exit ramp, the sky hung heavy and gray. The mall rose on the horizon like a cement ship run aground. Every window dark. The electronic sign above the entrance blazed in red. Do not enter. The parking lot stretched wide and empty. Not one car. I pulled up near the food court side, camera already rolling. Flynn Tate here, I said, voice steady. Welcome to the hashtag Silent Mall Challenge. They tell you not to go inside. So of course, I'm going inside. I popped the trunk, pulled out my ring light, strapped my phone to the gimbal. My live counter ticked up fast. 300, 500, 800. Chat's alive already, I said, checking the stream overlay. Guess you like danger. I panned across the lot. Empty asphalt. Shopping carts left stranded near a corral. In the distance, an inflatable holiday snowman lay collapsed in the grass, deflated but still smiling. A third alert buzzed. 12:36 p.m. Final safety check in progress. Do not enter. The tones bled into static. My phone glitched, then returned to normal. Viewers spammed laughing emojis. I faced the automatic doors. Glass smeared with grime. Closed sign hanging sideways. A single fluorescent light flickered inside. Here we go, I whispered, and pushed through. The smell hit first, dust mixed with something sharp, chemical. The air felt heavy, like stepping into a sealed box. I raised the ring light. On stream, the mall looked pristine. Polished tile, glowing storefronts, colorful signs. But in front of me, tile was cracked, fountains drained, walls streaked with mildew. Are you seeing this? I asked chat. Comments flew. Looks clean, man. Why you lying? Bro, it's shining. I pointed the light down. My boot had pressed into something dark on the floor. Sticky, red-brown. Off camera it looked like dried blood. On stream, just a harmless spill. Nice trick, I muttered. You can't all fake what you're seeing. Numbers spiked past 1,500 viewers. I followed the main hall past a shuttered bookstore. A poster on the glass showed a smiling family from 20 years ago, arms full of shopping bags. Their faces were sun-bleached into blank ovals. Behind me, the automatic doors slid shut with a hiss. I spun, but no one was there. Okay, note to self, I said quickly. Doors work without power. Creepy, but fine. Chat spammed. Don't be alone. Rule 1. What rule? I asked, scanning. The gimbal panned across a column where black marker graffiti scrawled a phrase. Never stream alone. I leaned closer. The letters dripped like wet ink. Cute, I said. Someone from TikTok wrote that. A mannequin in the dark store behind me tipped forward. Plastic arms struck the glass. Loud crack. I froze, then laughed nervously. Wind. Just wind. Stream chat exploded. Behind you. Move. Something's there. I swung the camera around, catching only shadows. The store display was still. Mannequin upright again, pose stiff in a suit. All right, I said, forcing calm. You're seeing tricks. I'm seeing abandoned retail. More graffiti stretched along the wall farther down. Don't read comments aloud. I smirked at the coincidence and read it anyway. The lights above flickered. My viewer count doubled instantly, 3,000. Ha! I said. Guess the mall knows how to boost engagement. Chat spammed. Why would you read it? I ignored them, raising the ring light higher. At the end of the hall, the fountain loomed. On stream. Sparkling water, glowing coins on the bottom. Off-screen. Cracked basin, black stains crawling down the tile. My boot stuck briefly as I crossed the rim. More dark patches, sticky again. Fake blood, I said. Somebody really wants us scared. The live counter hit 5,000. A fourth alert screamed from my phone. 12:37 p.m. Why aren't you listening? Do not enter. The tone warped, stretching too long, bending into metallic shrieks. Static roared. My stream froze, then returned. Comments flew faster than I could read. That wasn't a real alert. It spoke. Replay that, it said your name. My name, I whispered. Playback stuttered across the top of the stream. Why aren't you listening? Flynn. My hand jerked, nearly dropping the gimbal. I laughed, sharp, covering the noise. Clever edit. You guys are fast with deepfakes. The mall air hummed low, like electricity under the floor. From the second level, something scraped. Long, slow, metallic. I raised the ring light, camera tilting up. Nothing. Empty railing. But my live counter shot past 10,000. The static cut into my recording mid-sentence. I yanked the headphones off, staring at the waveform on my laptop. Not possible, I muttered. The graph spiked again, jagged peaks, then a voice through the static. 12:34 p.m. Gas leak detected. Westfield Mall evacuated. Do not enter. It wasn't on the newsfeed. No station carried it. Only my recorder. I pressed stop. Playback rolled anyway. The alert repeated, warped, layered with whispers underneath. Male, female, overlapping. My cursor refused to drag back. Fine, I said into the mic. Sienna Holt here. If you're listening, this is Field Log 1 for the Silent Mall investigation. And apparently, I'm already getting interference. I loaded my bag fast. Portable recorder, shotgun mic, spare batteries. The folder of clippings slid in last. 47 missing persons tied to Westfield since 1987. Every lead circled back here. By the time I hit the freeway, a second alert shrieked through the car speakers. I checked my phone, blank screen. Radio dial dead. Yet the voice filled the cabin. 12:35 p.m. Evacuation complete. Mall secured. Do not enter. Secured, I asked aloud. Then who's transmitting? The recorder light blinked red in my passenger seat, though I hadn't turned it on. The mall appeared near the exit ramp, a concrete whale stranded inland. Windows black, banners peeling. The parking lot spread empty. No cars, no birds, nothing. I pulled up near the east entrance. A cracked fountain sat bone-dry, coins scattered across brittle tile. The recorder clicked again. 12:36 p.m. Final safety check in progress. Do not enter. The message replayed, then slowed, words stretching. Playback showed 4 tracks layered. I raised the mic. Sienna Holt, Log 2. Westfield Infinity Center. Subject of viral hashtag Silent Mall Challenge. 47 missing persons, possible connections to staged content. I'll document entry. The glass doors resisted, then parted with a groan. Inside, dark concourse, faint light bleeding from skylights. My recorder hissed again. Whispers slid through, names overlapping. I caught one: Lyric Shaw. I froze, mic lifted. Repeat that. The name played again, then cut. Lyric Shaw, I said, flipping pages in my file. 19-year-old influencer, last seen streaming in front of the mall. Stream cut mid-laugh. Body never found. I lowered the file. Across the hall, mannequins stared from a clothing store window. The glass carried faint marker. Never stream alone. I logged it. First written warning inside the mall. Repetition suggests ritualized rules. Footsteps echoed down the concourse. I crouched behind the fountain rim. Hello, I called, recorder raised. Static reply only. A rolling squeak answered next, shopping cart wheels grinding. It drew closer, then stopped. I leaned over the rim. Nothing, just an overturned cart against a pillar. Classic haunting misdirection, I whispered into the mic. I walked on, recorder still running. The bookstore appeared first. Posters on the window displayed families with blank faces. I scanned the graffiti beside the frame. Don't read comments aloud. I repeated it for the log. Overhead, fluorescent lights buzzed, then snapped dark. The recorder caught a new line. Rule broken. I jerked the mic back. Playback confirmed it. Faint, mechanical voice, not mine. Rule broken by who? I demanded. No answer. Halfway down the concourse, the fountain court opened. Broken benches, trash scattered, empty kiosks. On my recorder, laughter, high-pitched, distant. I swung the mic across the room. Nothing visible. I checked my files again. The first disappearance. 1987, mall opening night. Witnesses heard laughter in the food court before security cleared the place. Now it was on my recorder. I marked the page. The static ripped through again. My phone lit up without touch. 12:37 p.m. Why aren't you listening? Do not enter. The voice pitched higher than the earlier ones, stretched to distortion. Playback repeated with additions. My own voice layered underneath, repeating the phrase back. I dropped the phone in my bag and snapped the recorder off. The light stayed red, recording on its own. Movement stirred above. Second-level railing. Figures stood motionless, shapes too still for people. I zoomed the mic up. The waveform spiked, sharp, but no audio came through. Multiple silhouettes, I said for the log. Second level, east railing. Likely mannequins, repositioned for intimidation effect. When I lowered the mic, the railing was empty. The fountain basin stretched cracked and black. A coin rolled in a circle without touch, spinning on stone. Noted, I whispered. The recorder's playback erupted with voices, layered screams, dozens at once. Names threaded through: Shaw, Delgado, Meyer, all missing persons. I staggered back, pages scattering. A shadow passed across the second-level skylight. Long, bent, mechanical. I steadied the mic, unidentified movement above court. Recording for verification. The ring light glow flashed suddenly down the hall. Another voice echoed faintly, male, sharp, streaming cadence. "Flynn Tate," I whispered. "Of course he's here." His live counter ticked audibly on his own stream somewhere nearby, the numbers rising. My recorder picked up both of us, two signals in one place out of sync. "Not possible." I turned toward his voice. The fountain cracked louder behind me. The scraping above grew louder, sharp against the skylight frame. I steadied the gimbal and tilted the camera up. Empty railings, just cracked tile and shadow. "Nice try," I said, forcing the word steady. "Classic haunted mall prank." The live counter surged again. 12,000 viewers. Emojis stormed the chat. A comment pinned itself on screen without my touch. "Look behind the fountain." I swung fast. The fountain's edge gleamed in my feed, water rippling under fluorescent glow. In reality, the basin lay dry, coins scattered, but someone crouched at the rim. "Yo!" I shouted. A man's head lifted, gaunt face, patchy beard, mall security badge pinned crooked on his shirt. He stared, eyes glassy. "You shouldn't be here," he said flatly. The chat detonated. "NPC, scripted actor. Bro, it's Theo Mac." I aimed the ring light on him. "Who are you?" "Theo," he rasped. "I worked here. I got out once. You won't." He stood, arms jerky, almost mechanical. His skin bore thin, rectangular burns, like receipts pressed against him. "What are those?" I asked. He didn't answer, just glanced at my streaming rig. "Turn it off. Don't let it mark you." "I'm live," I said. 15,000 viewers, man. This is already gold." Theo's voice cracked. "They're not viewers. They're mouths. Feeding." The lights above flared white, then cut dark. My counter jumped to 18,000. A new message spread across the concourse wall in dripping black. "Exit before battery hits 20%. I laughed nervously, angling the camera. "Look at that, rule number 3, folks. Keep track of your battery." Chat spammed. "Show percent. Check it now." I glanced at the overlay. 73%. "Plenty of juice," I said. Theo shook his head. "Not juice. Time." He staggered back toward the bookstore. His badge dangled. "Wait," I called. "What happens at 20? He froze. "You stay." Then he vanished into shadow. Static screamed from my phone speaker. Another emergency alert forced through, louder than before. 12:42 p.m. Exit now. Final window closing. But the voice warped mid-line, doubling over itself. Playback stuttered on screen. "Exit now. Flynn. Final window." I cursed and kept filming. "See that? He used my name again. This is insane." A shopping cart rolled from nowhere, wheels screeching. It spun lazy circles until it hit the fountain edge. The live counter rocketed past 20,000. "All right," I said, raising the gimbal. "If this place wants content, I'll give it." I panned toward the escalators. On stream, both glowed pristine, endless steps carrying phantom shoppers upward. Off camera, one was collapsed in rubble, the other stretched down into black without end. The overlay glitched. Comments repeated the same phrase. "Ride it. Ride it. Ride it." I laughed sharply. "You want me dead that bad, huh?" The wall graffiti smeared and rewrote itself. "Never take the escalator down." I turned back to the stream. "Rules keep changing, folks." A shadow crossed fast above. I aimed the ring light and caught mannequins at the railing, dressed in mismatched clothes, heads tilted. "Cute display," I said. One raised its hand and waved. The chat exploded. "IT moved. Rewind that." I steadied the camera. "Actors, Has to be. Another mannequin leaned too far and toppled, crashed onto the concourse tile, shattering limbs. Inside the wreckage, I saw flesh. I cut the angle fast. Practical effect, just prop work. Counter hit 25,000. A new alert buzzed, distorted to static. 12:45 p.m. Transaction initiated. Do not purchase. What transaction? I muttered. My phone screen lit with a balance. Mall gift card, $666. It blinked in my wallet app. Impossible. Not mine, I told the stream. Someone hacking me. Theo's voice barked from the dark. Don't swipe it. I flinched, spinning. He was gone again. The card balance ticked up, $666.66. I pushed into the food court, ring light cutting shadows. Tables overturned, menus dangling, old wrappers stuck to tile. But in my feed, everything gleamed. Restaurants open, trays stacked, soda machines humming. Phantom families bustled past, smiling. None existed outside the lens. Viewers, you seeing this? Fresh as launch day. Chat spammed, hungry, order food, buy something. A kiosk lit suddenly, touchscreen glowing. Menu offered, exit pass, $666.66. I backed away. Theo's voice whispered again, unseen, if you buy, you stay. The screen glitched, showing my own face, wide-eyed, lips moving half a second late. The concourse lights flickered. All phantom shoppers froze mid-step in my feed. One turned directly at my lens, its face pixelated, then smoothed into Lyric Shaw's grin. Smash that follow, her voice echoed distorted. Smash it or I disappear. The fountain cracked again, loud as a gunshot. I turned and ran down the nearest hall. The counter hit 30,000. I moved along the upper concourse, mic lifted. Flynn's voice echoed faintly from below, warped by distance and static. Log 3, I whispered into the recorder. Independent streamers are already inside. They're breaking the rules one by one. The device crackled. Words threaded through, rule broken. Viewer count rising. I froze. Repeat that. Playback stuttered, then replayed my own voice layered with mechanical tones. Viewer count rising. Across the concourse, mannequins stood in a line outside a shoe store. Each wore a mismatched outfit, price tags dangling. I raised the mic, second-level displays reoriented. Subjects appear posed toward me. One leaned forward. The sound hit like wood splintering. Plastic arm scraped the glass, then reset. The recorder hissed, "Don't look too long." My phone lit in my bag. I pulled it free. Another emergency alert forced itself across the screen. 12:46 p.m. Content corrupted. Do not engage. The text vibrated, jittering. Then a second overlay appeared. Go live, Sienna. Show them. I shoved it away. Not happening, I muttered. A shadow slid along the railing above the food court. I followed with the mic. Theo emerged from darkness. Turn it off, he rasped. You're Theo Mac, I said, aiming the recorder. Security staff 2019. You filed the last maintenance report. His badge gleamed crooked. You shouldn't know me. I know all 47. I shot back. Where are the missing? Theo's voice cracked. They're mannequins now. He backed away before I could press. The recorder light blinked. A new voice spoke through, layered with static. Battery at 60%. Exit required. I checked my gear. Exactly 60%. I logged it. Battery countdown integrated into alerts. Suggests correlation between charge level and time allowed. A laugh echoed behind me. I swung the mic. A mannequin now stood where Theo had been, badge pinned into its chest. Plastic lips stretched. I hurried toward the escalator landing. Flynn's voice was clearer now, streaming cadence bouncing. 25,000, you seeing this? He called somewhere below. The recorder picked it up in duplicate, half a second delayed. I spoke into the mic, signals overlapping. The mall is copying him. The escalator steps hummed. Downward side extended infinitely, vanishing into dark. Upward side froze, steps locked. Graffiti glistened fresh on the pillar. Never take the escalator down. I logged it. Rule reinforced at physical entry points. My phone buzzed again. 12:49 p.m. Transaction initiated. Do not purchase. Wallet app opened itself. A new card blinked. Mall gift card, $666.66. No, I whispered, backing off. The kiosk screen nearby lit with my own face, lagged by 2 seconds. By something, the reflection mouthed. The recorder hissed, voice breaking through. If you buy, you stay. Movement rattled the food court below. Flynn sprinted through, ring light swinging, counter-ticking audible from his phone. Flynn, I shouted. He didn't hear. His stream echoed double, overlay flickering. On the second pass, his duplicate ran behind him, moving slightly off sync. 2 signals, I said into the mic. He's splitting. The recorder added. One of him leaves. One remains. The mannequins along the railing shifted closer. Hands pressed against the glass. Price tags tore loose, fluttering like paper wings. I raised the mic, subjects repositioning aggressively. Plastic fingers drummed the railing in unison. The sound spread down the hall. More mannequins stepped forward. Theo's voice whispered again. Nowhere visible. They want you in frame. I turned and ran. Another alert forced through, louder than before. 12:52 p.m. Comment section breached. Do not read aloud. Graffiti scrawled across the nearest wall instantly. Say his name. I clenched the recorder tight. Log 4. The environment is reacting to viewer prompts. Words become physical graffiti. Comments bled fresh across the tiles. Say his name. Say Flynn. Not happening, I muttered. The mannequins pounded the glass harder. I bolted down a service hallway. Bare concrete, storage doors, exposed pipes. The recorder blared without input. Exit closing. 17 minutes. Time window confirmed, I gasped. A door at the end vibrated with a heavy impact. Another, louder. I aimed the mic. Playback captured grinding metal, electronic screeches. The hunger was moving. Static ripped through my phone again. The alert tone bent until it screamed. 12:55 p.m. Why aren't you listening? Sienna? The text stretched across the whole screen, then dissolved into static snow. I snapped it shut and shoved it away. The banging on the service door stopped. Silence pressed. Then the lock clicked open by itself. I sprinted down the hall, stream overlay shaking as the gimbal bounced. Numbers climbed fast, 35,000, 40, higher. All right, I panted, forcing bravado. You wanted action, you're getting it. Graffiti smeared fresh along the wall as I passed. Never run. Here's you. Too late, I muttered. The overhead lights snapped out, one after another, plunging the corridor into layered shadow. My phone vibrated with another alert. 12:56 p.m. Motion detected. Do not run. The overlay lagged, then stuttered. My own figure froze mid-frame for half a second before catching up. Glitch, I told the stream, though my voice cracked. That's all. A shopping cart smashed against a storefront gate ahead, metal screaming. Okay, maybe not just a glitch. The counter jumped again, 42,000. I slowed to a walk, raising the ring light. Happy now, I said. Graffiti bled across the opposite wall. Good, keep filming. I turned the gimbal fast. Nothing there but a mannequin inside a shuttered pharmacy, hand pressed against the glass. His plastic mouth stretched wide. Static hissed from my speaker, words embedded. Hungry. I edged closer. Rule 4, right? Don't buy anything. The mannequin's plastic hand slid down the glass, streaking black residue. The screen on my phone blinked again. Mall gift card, $999.99. Not happening, I said. Stop trying. The overlay spiked. Buy. Comments filled with the same word. Chat, cut it out, I snapped. A new graffiti scrawl appeared instantly. You read it aloud. The lights above exploded in a chain, showering sparks. I ducked through a side hall into the arcade. The machines glowed faintly in my feed, neon lights, demo screens running. Off camera, every cabinet stood gutted, screens smashed, joysticks hanging loose. Flynn Tate inside Westfield Infinity Arcade. I narrated, forcing calm. Looks pristine on stream, trashed in reality. Someone's running dual layers. One cabinet screen blinked alive for real. Pixels formed Lyric Shaw's face, frozen mid-laugh. Follow me, her voice echoed from the speakers. I raised the gimbal closer. Her mouth moved again. Follow or I stay here forever. The live counter surged past 50,000. A row of mannequins sat propped against pinball machines, heads tilted. One toppled sideways, colliding with the floor. Inside the broken torso, I saw human ribs. Fake, I said quickly. It's fake. The recorder in my pocket clicked on by itself. Playback. Theo's voice, distant, muttering. They're mannequins now. I spun toward the hall. No sign of him. Another alert shrieked through. 12:59 p.m. Exit closing. Final 15 minutes. Final, I asked. The overlay glitched again, freezing me mid-sentence. Graffiti smeared across the arcade wall. Don't trust your subscriber count. I checked anyway. 57,000. It's lying? I whispered, but my voice cracked into a laugh. The chat scrolled. No, it's real. Congrats, bro. You're blowing up. Theo's voice bled through my earpiece again. Not viewers, mouths. A crash echoed from the concourse. The mannequins in the arcade turned their heads toward it, perfectly synced. I edged back, gimbal raised. The fountain cracked louder outside, tile snapping. All right, I told the stream, voice fast now. Either that's construction or something wants me dead. Comments spammed. Go check it. Don't be a coward. The arcade door slammed shut behind me. I spun, yanking the handle. Locked. The machines powered up one by one, screens all displaying my stream. Each replay lagged a few seconds behind. On the third cabinet, my reflection smiled even though I wasn't. Okay, no, I muttered. The gimbal shook in my grip. The lyric face returned, stretched across every monitor. Smash that like, her voice echoed in glitchy chorus. The mannequins began clapping, hands smacking plastic against plastic. The sound spread louder, building. Shut up, I yelled. The applause cut instantly. The alert tone blasted again, harsher than before. making the phone screen vibrate. 1:02 p.m. Your exit pass is expiring. Do not delay. The wallet app showed the gift card again, blinking at $0. A new option popped beneath. Renew pass, $666.66. Not buying, I barked. The graffiti smeared on the arcade wall. You will. The mannequins leaned forward in unison. I rammed the nearest one with the gimbal. Plastic cracked, torso splitting. Inside were organs, slick and rotting. Fake, I gasped, though my hands shook. All fake. The counter passed 60,000. Stop watching, I begged. Turn it off. More comments flooded in. Can't stop. It won't let us leave. The arcade screens all froze on my terrified face. The door burst open on its own. I sprinted into the concourse. The fountain now gaped open, cracked into a pit. Black water poured upward, suspended in midair like liquid cables. Mannequins ringed the court, heads twitching in sync. The hunger's monitor head flickered in the reflection of the water, static faces screaming across the glass. My counter passed 70,000. I raised the gimbal and whispered, "Keep watching." The mic light blinked red as I pressed record. Sienna Holt, Silent Mall Investigation, Segment 3. Timestamp. I checked my phone. The digits on the lock screen stuttered, repeating the same second over and over before skipping ahead 5 minutes. Timestamp useless. Continuing anyway. I kept walking, recorder lifted. Audio check, picking up everything. Documenting the West Corridor near Anchor Store 1. Mannequins have been moved again. Posed like customers at a food court that doesn't exist anymore. A faint tone pinged from the ceiling speakers. It wasn't my device. It was the system. Alert. Evacuation complete. Final head count in progress. Please remain still. I froze mid-step. Final head count. I repeated into the mic. The system's counting us. The mannequins shifted. Chairs scraped tile. I raised the mic higher, walking faster. Documenting. Every figure repositioned when announcement ended. Chairs now filled. Tables arranged. Smell of grease. I paused. I promised myself one detail only. Grease. I swung the camera around. Every table held trays with plastic food. Half-eaten burgers, limp fries. One tray dripped something black that sizzled against tile. Lyric Shaw, I said louder, as if summoning her. If you're here, confirm. A screen on the far wall crackled. Her face appeared mid-laugh, filter stretched, looping 3 seconds of a TikTok dance. Then the loop broke. Her lips moved without sound. Then words hissed out the mall speakers. Still streaming, still trending. Come sit. No, I said into the mic, refusal logged. Moving east. I shoved past mannequins. Their plastic hands brushed my coat sleeve. My recorder picked static. I checked gain levels, maxed out. Too loud to be environmental. Testing interference. I swung the mic toward a mannequin's face. A voice spilled out, layered and distorted. Subscriber count confirmed. Keep walking. I yanked the mic back. This confirms victims are recorded into static. The mall reuses their voices. Another alert crackled overhead. Rule 3 violation detected. Battery below 20%. Exit suspended. I cursed. Logging device battery. 19%. I slapped the recorder off, pocketed it, and turned my phone toward me. I opened the podcast app. The waveform showed not silence, not ambient air, but dozens of overlapping voices, all pleading, all whispering the same phrase, "Stay until the credits roll." Not happening, I said. My pace quickened. My boots squeaked against tile. Something ahead. Escalator rails curled into the corridor, twisted like ribs. A shopping cart lay sideways, wheels bent, metal smeared black. I lifted the camera. Visual log. Rails shaped into organic pattern. Possible sign of entity. The static in my earbuds spiked. A low electronic screech rattled the air. I ducked into a storefront. The store mannequins had been stripped of clothes. Their torsos were hollow, filled with torn receipts. Each chest cavity displayed handwritten phrases. I leaned close to one. Never read comments out loud. Another mannequin's cavity glowed faint blue. Words scrolled across the paper. Theo was right. "Where are you?" I whispered. My mic stayed off. This wasn't for subscribers. This was survival. Behind me, another tone. "Reminder. Transactions finalize your stay. The mall thanks you." The cash register at the front counter dinged. This drawer slid open. Inside lay a gift card with my name printed on it. Sienna Holt, balance. Infinite. "No," I said. I kicked the drawer shut. The mannequins' heads all turned toward me. Their receipt chests rustled. The mic turned itself on. Red light blinked without my touch. Voices poured in. A chorus. "Swipe it, swipe it, swipe it." I ripped the battery pack out. Silence. For a moment. Then another broadcast. "Failure to comply logged. Exit path shortened." The directory kiosk outside the store powered up. The screen displayed a map. Every corridor except one blinked red. The open path pulsed white toward the commitment escalator. "The mall's forcing routes," I said, flipping the recorder back on with a fresh pack. "This isn't exploration anymore. It's choreography." I followed the glowing arrows on the map. Each step echoed louder than the last. Mannequins flanked the hallway, arms raised as if clapping. Their plastic palms clicked together, slow, synchronized. I hissed, "You're not audience. You're graves." My phone buzzed. Notification from Cyrus. "Feed breaking up, but we're still watching. Don't stop." I tapped back, "Cut the stream. It's feeding on you too." No response. Another notification instead. "Chat says wave to prove you're real." I didn't. I shoved the phone deep into my coat. The corridor narrowed. At the end waited the escalator. Down only. Lights flickered above it, green arrows pointing into dark. I recorded, "Commitment escalator in sight. Rules confirm, down is infinite. Up is false exits." A shape moved below. I squinted. Static flared. The hunger stood on the escalator, motionless, monitor head humming. Its receipt tails unrolled down the steps like banners. On them, moving images played. My last podcast episode, cut into fragments. I raised the mic, entity confirmed. Engaged with personal content. Using me as lure. The screens along the walls flickered. Lyric again, this time screaming. Over and over. Each scream layered on itself until it became distortion. I whispered into the recorder, "That's not replay. That's live." The hunger lifted an arm. Cash register keys clicked like metal teeth. The escalator jolted forward, pulling it closer. Another alert blasted. Exit pass reduced. 5 minutes remain. I checked my phone timer. It showed 5 minutes counting down. I spun. The mannequins blocked the corridor behind me, lined shoulder to shoulder, receipt chests fluttering. The clapping started again, faster now. "All right," I said into the mic, segment 3 closing. 5 minutes left. Escalator mandatory. If this log survives, don't repeat this route. I stuffed the recorder into my bag, tightened the strap, and stepped toward the escalator. The hunger waited, monitor flickering with my face. And then the alert changed again. "Why aren't you listening? Do not enter." but I was already stepping on. Okay. Chat, are you watching this? My voice cracked against the phone mic, because if you're not, I'm done for nothing. The fountain rippled. The reflection of the hunger's monitor head rose higher, static breaking across the water. I aimed the ring light. The reflection blinked out, then reappeared closer. Great. Light doesn't stop it. It just makes it skip forward. I adjusted the tripod, hands jerking too fast. Yeah, I'm not running. Rule 1. Another tone burst overhead. Do not look directly into reflective surfaces. Compliance mandatory. I laughed. Hi, quick. Too late. Already did. Rules are impossible. I panned the camera across the empty court. Every storefront shutter rattled. Behind one, something dragged. Shopping carts screeched across tile. Log it, I said. Dragging sound, multiple carts. Direction, east corridor. My subscriber count on screen climbed. 2.1 million. 2.5. Numbers spun faster. I muttered, yeah, fake. That's not real. The mannequins by the fountain rotated their heads. Each face showed mine. My phone shook as I lifted it. Okay, chat, listen close. If numbers keep climbing, it means I'm being eaten while you watch. Stop sharing this. A comment blinked on screen. This is insane VFX. Do the escalator next. The mall speakers copied the text aloud in a chorus of warped voices. Do the escalator next. No, I snapped. That's Sienna's route. I'm not repeating it. The directory kiosk behind me lit up. My name scrolled across the screen. Flynn Tate, exit voided. I shouted at the lens. You see that? Exit voided. They're killing routes in real time. Another alert tone. Warning. Subscriber count exceeded safe limit. Integration in progress. I flipped the phone, showed the count. 5.6 million. Integration means me becoming a mannequin. You hear me? You'll watch me turn into a prop. The mannequins clapped once, in unison. The echo carried through the court. I ran, not far, just a few steps, to a storefront. A jewelry shop, glass cracked. I shoved the tripod in and swung the camera across glittering cases. Inside each, not gems, teeth. Rows of teeth. Some braces still attached. Recording this. Teeth in display cases. Real. Human. The register dinged. This drawer slid out. Inside, another gift card, my name on it. Balance. 1 million. Not buying, I shouted. I kicked the drawer shut. The mannequins turned their heads toward me again. A hiss of static shook the ceiling. The hunger stepped into the court. Its escalator legs scraped sparks. Receipt intestines dragged behind it, unraveling, printing new lines. Content is consumption. Consumption is content. I lifted the camera. There it is. Monitor head. You're seeing it, right? Chat, clip this. No more denying. The screen on its head flickered. My own stream played back, 10 seconds behind. My face, screaming, looped back at me. No, 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 I muttered. I slammed the tripod shut, grabbed the phone, sprinted across the court. The hunger lurched, slow but unstoppable, every step pounding tile. An alert blared overhead. Warning, running triggers audio response. Compliance broken. I froze. The hunger accelerated. Okay, not running, just moving quick. I sidestepped toward the escalator corridor. Yeah, playing along. See? Not running. Its cash register fingers scraped along glass, shattering window after window. Clothes spilled out. Limbs inside mannequins rattled. The subscriber count, 7.9 million. Stop watching. I begged into the mic. Stop. It's making me tastier to it. Another comment popped. Closer shot, man. Prove it's not CGI. The mall speakers parroted, closer shot. Prove it's not CGI. I raised the phone again. You want close? I shouted. You get close. I stepped toward it. The hunger tilted its monitor head down, static pouring across tile. Its receipt intestines curled toward my ankles. Look at that. Paper and fiber optic cables. You think that's After Effects? I swung the phone low, catching the cables. One wrapped my tripod leg and yanked. The stand collapsed, light rolling away. The hunger dragged the tripod into its chest cavity. Metal warped, fused with cart wires inside. Integration, I whispered. It doesn't just eat, it recycles. An alert cut through again. Exit closed in 2 minutes. Compliance no longer possible. 2 minutes, I said. They're forcing me into permanent. I spun in a circle. Every corridor shuttered. Only the escalator path stayed open. From below, static howled. Sienna's voice leaked through the mall speakers. Segment 3 closing. 5 minutes left. Escalator mandatory. My throat tightened. Sienna, I said. She's still on. The hunger froze. Its monitor head shifted. Sienna's face filled the screen, walking down the escalator, mic raised. No, I screamed. I waved at the phone. Chat, that's Liv. She's here. She's in danger. Stop watching me. Follow her. The subscriber count hit 9.4 million. My video feed split. Half screen me, half screen Sienna. Both Liv. God, no. No. It's merging streams. The mannequins clapped again. Faster. Their receipt chests flashed. Stay until the credits roll. The hunger charged. I bolted sideways, ducked into the arcade. Screens blazed to life. Each machine played lyrics dances. Her scream looped under the music. I shoved cabinets over, sprinting through. My phone vibrated. New alert. Integration 90%. Prepare for display. Not me, I hissed. I swung the phone back at the fountain. The hunger's reflection showed me, already mannequin slick, glassy-eyed. I screamed at the stream. This is your fault. You're feeding it. The reflection's mouth moved back, but not mine. It whispered through static. 10 million confirmed. Subscriber count, 10,012,000. The hunger's intestines lashed across the court, smashing into walls, wrapping mannequins, pulling them apart. Limbs snapped, plastic and flesh spilled together. I ducked, rolled, grabbed a shard of glass. I slashed at the fiber optic cables crawling for me. Sparks burst. The hunger twitched. Okay, I yelled. That worked. Clipping cables slows it down. I sprinted toward the escalator path. The hunger screeched, monitor head blasting static. Its escalator legs pounded after me. The alert blared one final time. Exit closed in 60 seconds. Compliance impossible. Prepare for display. The mannequins lined the escalator, arms raised, pointing down. Each mouth hissed the same. Down, down, down. I shoved past them, phone high. If this is last 60, you're watching me die. Clip it. The hunger crashed through the fountain, water exploding. This monitor showed Sienna again, stepping deeper. I screamed her name and jumped onto the first step. The escalator jerked alive, dragging me downward, straight toward her voice. The escalator rattled under me, each step clanking like machinery forcing me down. My mic light blinked. I said, Sienna Holt segment for log 1. Escalator descent in progress. Entity confirmed below. Static surged in my headphones. Flynn's voice came through faint, shouting my name. Flynn, I called, raising the mic, confirm position. Another broadcast cut overhead. 2 subjects detected. Streams converging. Integration accelerated. The steps jerked. A second escalator came alive beside mine, moving down faster. On it, Flynn, clutching a phone, staring at me. "Don't stream," I yelled across. He waved, voice cracking through the din. Too late. They're watching both of us. It's merging feeds. The walls of the shaft lit up. Screens embedded in plaster showed split views. My camera angle, his phone angle. Chat comments scrolled across in neon text. This is the collab we wanted. Finally together. Don't stop. The hunger's static screech echoed up from below. End your stream, I shouted again. Can't, Flynn barked. He slammed at his phone. It won't close. Look. His subscriber count flashed across the screens, 11.2 million. My podcast analytics overlaid beside it. Downloads maxed, red error warnings. The escalators slammed to a stop, both of us frozen halfway. I raised my recorder. Escalators halted. Streams displayed in real time. Mall audience interfering directly. The mannequins emerged from recesses in the walls. Dozens. Their receipt chests fluttered words. Collab content. Final episode. Flynn kicked one, knocking it backward into the pit. He shouted, "We're not collab content, damn it." The mall speakers hissed back in distorted chorus. Collab content. Final episode. The escalators lurched downward again, double speed. The mannequins clung to rails, sliding with us. Flynn, I snapped. Don't let them tag us as an episode. That locks us in. How do we stop it? Refuse the structure. Break the format. I ripped the battery pack from my mic, held it high. Log terminated. This is not content. The speakers shrieked. Static burst. Half the mannequins toppled, writhing. The hunger surged into view at the base of the shaft. Its monitor head glowed with both our faces. Arms of mannequin limbs clawed upward, cash register fingers snapping. Receipt intestines whipped the escalator rail, sparking. Flynn, I shouted. Left side. Jump to me. He glanced down. The hunger blocked his descent path. He vaulted the gap, nearly falling. I caught his arm, yanked him onto my step. The escalator shook harder, punishing the merge. Keep talking, I barked. Stay human, not content. He shouted into his phone. This isn't a video, it's proof. Proof of murders. Proof of this thing. The hunger slammed its arm into the wall, cracking screens. Neon comments stuttered. Glitchy feed LOL. Don't stop, climax coming. The mall speakers mimicked the comments. We kept moving, the escalator dragging us closer. Another alert burst overhead. Compliance failure logged. Exit pass reduced to 30 seconds. 30 seconds, Flynn muttered. He grabbed the glass shard still in his hand, raised it. We fight. Not fight, expose, I shouted. Force it to reveal. The hunger's head glitched. Sienna on screen, Flynn on screen, then lyric screaming. Then Theo's face, pale and cracked, whispering silently. Flynn shoved his phone toward it. Look, chat. Look who it's made of. The hunger's monitor went black, then flashed. 10 million confirmed. Every mannequin shrieked at once, sound rattling the shaft. The escalator bottom loomed, an open court slick with black water. Brace, I yelled. The steps dumped us into the court. We hit tile, rolled. I grabbed my recorder, slammed it back on. Segment 4, court at escalator base. Hunger present. The hunger towered above, intestines coiling around shattered mannequins, fusing them into its chest. It dragged Flynn's tripod from its ribs, slammed it into the ground like a weapon. Flynn scrambled to his knees. "We need feedback. Noise." I lifted the mic, switched it to monitor mode, aimed at the hunger. Static screamed back at itself, a loop of distortion. The entity jerked, monitor head glitching, flickers of faces. "Yes," Flynn shouted. "Keep it up." The receipt intestines whipped toward me. Flynn swung the shard, cutting one. Sparks flew. The hunger reeled. Another alert blasted, louder than all before. "Warning. Narrative break detected. Unstable content. Final sequence initiated." The floor cracked. Water geysered upward. Mannequins floated, limbs spinning. "Final sequence," Flynn panted. "Means climax. Means last chance." I shoved the mic against the floor speaker. The feedback howled. The hunger's monitor cracked. Faces poured across the glass, Lyric, Theo, dozens more. Screaming, begging. The chat feed blazed across every wall. "Keep going. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop." Flynn shouted at the walls. "Shut it down. Stop watching." Subscriber count, 12.7 million. The hunger lunged. His cash register hand slammed the tile where I stood. Cracks spread outward. I screamed into the recorder. "This is not content. This is crime. Stop watching us." For the first time, the chat feed stuttered. Half the comments froze. The hunger paused, monitor head flickering. Then Cyrus's voice bled through a wall speaker. "We're still watching. We can't stop. It's making us." "Cyrus," I shouted. "Cut the stream." "I can't." His voice broke into static. "It's running itself now." Flynn hurled the shard at the hunger's head. Glass cracked. Static poured out like smoke. The mall speakers screamed in unison. "Unstable. Unstable. Unstable." The mannequins collapsed. The court lights exploded. Flynn grabbed my arm. "Run." We bolted across the court. The hunger stumbled behind, intestines dragging, monitor fizzing with broken images. The directory kiosk ahead lit up. Its map read, "Except one pulsing corridor. Exit." "Exit there," I shouted. The hunger screeched, leapt onto the ceiling, crawling after us upside down. Segment 4 ending. I yelled into the recorder. "Exit attempt in progress. Hunger unstable. If this is last, don't repeat." We sprinted. The exit glowed brighter. The hunger dropped in front of it, monitor head sparking. It raised Flynn's tripod like a spear. And the alert cut in one last time. Final exit revoked. Display imminent. The mall's last exit sign flickered overhead, casting warped shadows across tile slick with static burn. Sienna's recorder blinked red. Final display. The loudspeakers repeated in a fractured loop. I pulled her back from the narrowing corridor. "Stay behind me. Don't argue." She gripped the recorder tighter but didn't resist. The mannequins had fused into a grotesque crowd. Plastic torsos jammed together, limbs raised like antennae. Their voices merged. "Display, display, display." The hunger waited beyond them. Taller now, its frame wrapped in broken tripods, sparking wires trailing. Camera lenses swiveled along its arms, each one twitching to focus. "Exit revoked," the monitors shouted. Then a new banner. "Mandatory presentation. 2 subjects required." Sienna hissed through her teeth. "It won't let us leave unless we—" "Don't say it," I snapped. The hunger moved first. Its arms swung, tripod legs unfolding into a bladed arc. The mannequins parted for it like trained extras. I shoved Sienna down and grabbed a metal signpost from the floor, swinging hard. Sparks burst where steel met steel. The sign bent useless. "Flynn!" Sienna yelled. "Go!" Back to the service hallway. We ran, mannequins collapsing inward to hurt us. Their fused bodies dragged along the floor like scaffolding. Screens above displayed our faces with chat overlays. Lagging performance, forced collab, final season. "They're watching," Sienna gasped. She hurled the recorder at a screen. It cracked, image warping into static, but the voice continued, "Viewer engagement, declining." The hunger's shadow lengthened across the tiles. I slammed a fire door shut, twisting the latch. A countdown instantly appeared on the door's display. "Lock override in 20 seconds. Sienna stared. "It's counting down." "Then we move." I dragged her through the narrow maintenance corridor. Wires hissed from the ceiling, lights bursting one after another. Emergency tones warbled as patterns mangled, layered with distorted speech. 2 subjects confirmed, final broadcast imminent. We hit a junction. Sienna grabbed my sleeve. "Left leads to the generator, right to the atrium. Which gives us a chance?" She hesitated. Static spilled from her recorder even though it was off. "Generator," she said. We sprinted left. The corridor widened into a control chamber lined with breaker panels. Half the board sparked. Sienna rushed to a console and tore open the panel. "If we kill power, maybe the feed dies with it." I yanked another signpost free and braced the doorway. The mannequins were already pouring in, their plastic frames scraping the walls. "Hurry!" I shouted. She flipped switches. Alarms screamed. Power interruption detected. Final display escalated. The hunger arrived, stooping through the doorway. The cameras focused directly on us, lenses clicking in rapid succession. "Unauthorized reroute detected," it intoned, voice now layered with the alert tones themselves. I jammed the signpost into its advancing frame, sparks spitting across my hands. It didn't stop. Sienna screamed at the console. "It won't shut down. Every circuit just reboots itself." The hunger's arm lashed, ripping the panel from the wall. Wires whipped like snakes. Sienna stumbled back, barely avoiding a strike. "Flynn, it wants us alive." I noticed. I dragged her toward the emergency ladder at the far end. The hunger lunged, smashing through consoles. I shoved Sienna up first, then climbed. Sparks sprayed below as the monster reached after us. We burst into the atrium above. Every screen blazed with our images again. Final display confirmed. Begin forced collab. The mannequins lined the balconies, chanting in synthetic voices, their heads twisted in unison to face us. Sienna grabbed my wrist. "If it wants content, give it none." Dead air. Silence. "How?" She lifted the recorder again. "We shut this down on our terms." The hunger climbed out of the stairwell, pulling itself hand over hand like some insect dragging broken limbs. Cameras clicked, focused, reframed. Sienna raised the recorder to her mouth. "To whoever's still listening." I slapped it down. "No, that's what it wants." The monitors blared. Non-compliance detected. Penalty escalated. The exit doors at the atrium end sealed with steel shutters. Countdown. 60 seconds to final lockdown. We had less than a minute. Sienna's eyes darted to the balcony rails. "We jump. It's 2 floors down. Better than that thing." The hunger advanced, its torso splitting open. Inside its chest, screens flickered with thousands of tiny windows, each one showing us from different angles, like infinite surveillance. I grabbed Sienna's arm. "On 3. 1. The mannequins screamed. 2. The countdown dropped. 30 seconds. 3. We vaulted the railing. The atrium floor rushed up. I twisted midair, pulling Sienna under me to break the fall. We crashed through a kiosk, splintering wood and plastic. Pain seared across my back, but I shoved us upright instantly. The hunger landed beside us with a metallic quake. The screens above announced, "Lockdown IN 10, 9." We staggered toward the final shutters. Sienna fumbled for the emergency override panel, but it was already counting with the doors. 6, 5. I smashed the panel with my fist. Sparks burst, but the countdown kept going. 3, 2. The shutters screeched down. I threw my arms under them, forcing steel against hydraulics. The weight drove me to my knees. Sienna dove beneath. "Flynn, come on." The hunger strode closer. Lenses dilated, lights flashing. Final display capture. The shutters crushed lower. My shoulders burned. "Go!" I roared. "I'm not leaving you. Now!" The shutters slammed shut with a thunderclap. Darkness swallowed the mall interior. Outside, faint daylight leaked under the final crack. Sienna pounded the steel, screaming. Inside, I turned. The hunger stood only feet away, cameras aimed, body sparking with raw current. The last monitor blazed, solo performance detected, adjusting format. The glass sealed between us, locking Flynn inside. He hammered his fists on the panel, shouting, "Override it! Get me out!" I slammed my hands against the keypad, jabbing random numbers. Red flashes answered back. The monitor above us split into glitching fragments, each repeating, "Solo performance detected. Final display engaged." "Flynn, step back," I yelled. Sparks popped across the frame. The barrier wasn't opening, it was strengthening. He backed toward the center, dragging the crowbar tight against his side. "Tell me what it says." It wants you alone." My voice cracked fast. I searched for any latch, any panel. Nothing. The mannequins lined the walls behind him, no longer still. Their arms rotated on stiff joints, all pointing toward Flynn. From the intercom came the siren pulse tone, then a voice. "Final audience gathering. Time to display." Flynn spun in circles, shouting, "There's no one here." I pressed against the glass, shaking my head. It doesn't need people. The system is the audience now. The lights strobed white across the chamber. Each blink erased detail, then revealed more mannequins where none had been. Their suits bent in impossible shapes. Their faces clicked open like shutters. Flynn slammed the crowbar into the closest mannequin, knocking its head clean off. Black static poured from the stump, spreading across the floor like wires unraveling. The monitors screamed, "Applause required." I banged the console with both fists. "Don't give it anything. Don't move unless you have to." He waved the crowbar overhead, his voice raw. "You hear me, you bastard?" Every monitor switched to show Flynn from different angles. The same moment, split, multiplied. The crowbar raised above his head on 1,000 feeds. Then the voice returned, smoother, almost rehearsed. "Display begins in 5. The count dropped 4. "Flynn," I shouted, "don't do anything reckless. We'll find another way." He looked at me through the glass, eyes darting fast, then raised a single finger against the barrier. Not at me, at the console I stood over. I scanned it. One small keyhole. Emergency shutoff. A real lock. The mannequins convulsed, their limbs twisting into antenna shapes. The air vents whined overhead. A roar of static burst through every speaker. Display. The mannequins' mouths split open. A projection of Flynn appeared across their faces, each flickering replay slightly different. One smiling, one screaming, one collapsing. "Stop it," I shouted at the ceiling. "He's not your actor." The monitors hissed. Applause detected. The mannequin's arms clapped in broken sync, slamming together, pieces snapping off with each strike. Flynn struck the floor, smashing a grate open. "Sienna, move!" he yelled. He shoved the crowbar into the vent and dropped to his knees, forcing himself inside as sparks rained down. The mannequins pivoted instantly, their projections following him. The lock on the barrier blinked green for the first time. I yanked it open, pulling hard. The door swung wide. I crawled halfway in before Flynn's voice echoed from the vent. "No, stay out. It's tracking me, not you." The intercom blared again. Subject relocating. Audience retargeting. The mannequins collapsed, reforming into crawling heaps, static trailing them as they swarmed the vent. Flynn's voice shouted up from the duct, "You've got one chance. Find the broadcast core. Shut it down." I staggered back, slamming the door shut. The chamber sealed again, cutting me off from him completely. His pounding grew muffled as he forced himself deeper into the ductwork. The monitors above switched feeds. Not Flynn anymore. Me. Every angle, my hands shaking at the keypad, my face tilted up at the cameras. New subject acquired. The mannequins on my side of the barrier rattled as if acknowledging me. I bolted down the corridor. Emergency lights flared to life, red numbers scrolling across every wall. Sequence. 10 minutes TO finale. My earpiece crackled alive with Flynn's voice. "Sienna, you hear me?" "Yes," I snapped, sprinting. "I'm in its vents. Static everywhere. If you see a central pillar, big broadcast node, you kill it." "Where?" Static cut half his words. "East wing, main tower." I turned left, following the faded exit stencils. A stairwell loomed. I shoved through, feet pounding metal steps 2 at a time. At the landing, a monitor embedded in the wall flared. My own face again, live, sprinting, mouth open mid-breath. The text overlay read, "Rehearsal progressing." "Flynn, it's copying me now." His reply stuttered, "Don't engage. The core needs." The feed snapped to silence. I burst into the east wing. Racks of dead servers lined the walls, all patched with dangling wires. At the center rose a massive tower of screens, stacked floor to ceiling. The moment I entered, every screen lit. My reflection stared back on hundreds of panels. Behind my image crawled shadows stitched from static, shapes bending closer each second. The tower spoke, 10 minutes until climax. Prepare to perform. I circled fast, searching for cables. The rear bristled with them, thick and twitching. I yanked at the nearest one. Sparks showered across the floor. Instantly the monitors changed. Flynn's face again, but this time mangled, duplicated. His eyes multiplied across the grid. "Stop cutting feeds," the voice warned, "or subject will be erased." "Don't listen to it." Flynn's real voice burst through my earpiece again, sharp and fast. "It bluffs. Kill the feed." I tore another cable loose. Half the tower went black. The other half replayed Lyric's old livestream footage, her frozen smile flickering with static overlay. "Don't," Flynn's voice sputtered, then cut. The tower's tone dropped lower, deeper. Applause denied. Punishment required. The floor rumbled. Mannequins pushed through hidden wall slots, collapsing onto the floor in broken heaps before standing tall. Their faces showed nothing now, just raw static. The earpiece hissed alive again. Flynn's voice nearly drowned. "Sienna, run, override, north end." The mannequins surged toward me. I swung a loose cable like a whip, sparks driving them back for only seconds at a time. I ducked under their arms, lunging toward a service hatch on the far side. My boots slid across the tile as I yanked it open. A shaft descended into darkness. The monitors shouted in unison, "Sequence advancing. 7 minutes remain." I didn't hesitate. I dropped into the shaft, slamming the hatch shut above me. The walls shook as the mannequins clawed at the hatch. Static bled down the shaft, chasing me deeper. At the bottom, a maintenance tunnel stretched, lit only by failing bulbs. Arrows painted on the walls pointed north. Flynn's voice cracked through once more. "You're close. Core override ahead. Do it fast, Sienna, or it finishes us both." The bulbs flickered out one by one behind me, static eating their light. I broke into a sprint, not daring to look back. The vent walls rattled as I dragged myself forward. Metal scraped my boots. Static hissed above like rain falling inside wires. I gripped the crowbar ahead of me, shoving it forward, crawling deeper. My earpiece flickered. Sienna's voice, distant, almost breaking apart. "Core, East Wing, 7 minutes." "I'm moving," I muttered. My voice echoed small in the duct. The vent split ahead into 2 branches. Left hummed louder. I pressed my ear close. Static swelled. Right side, silence. I whispered, "You want me left, don't you?" and shoved the crowbar into the left vent. The crawl space narrowed. Screws rattled loose around me, dropping into the darkness below. The walls shook harder. Subject retained. A flat voice whispered from the ducts themselves. I swung the crowbar against the sheet metal. Sparks jumped. The voice cut off mid-sentence. I pushed forward. A grate appeared ahead, faint light shining through. I pressed my face close. Below stretched a chamber of cameras, hundreds of lenses aimed at empty chairs arranged in rows. An auditorium built only for surveillance. The intercom blared, "Audience waiting. Performer must arrive." Every camera tilted up at me at once. I shoved the crowbar through the grate. The metal screeched. I kicked until it burst free. The fall slammed me onto the stage floor. Chairs creaked. Though empty, they bent as if invisible figures leaned forward. The monitors on the walls lit, each showing me sprawled across the stage. Angles stacked, multiplied, repeating my crawl, my drop, my stagger upright. "Flynn!" Sienna's voice stabbed through the earpiece. "You're near the auditorium. Keep moving north." "They've got me center stage," I hissed. On cue, the lights blazed. A spotlight cut across me. The intercom voice boomed, "Applause required." The invisible audience clapped. Nothing touched my ears, but the chairs snapped backward and forward, slamming wood against wood. I tightened my grip on the crowbar, raised it overhead, and spun in a circle. "You want performance? You'll get noise." I swung against the nearest chair. Wood splintered. The monitors instantly replayed the motion from dozens of angles, looping it. Each loop warped. One version showing me smiling, another screaming. "Applause detected," the voice droned. The doors at the rear burst open. Mannequins stumbled in, dragging cameras bolted into their torsos. Each lens blinked red, recording. I bolted across the stage. The mannequins raised their arms like stagehands, blocking my way. "Flynn!" Sienna again. "North Hall. Keep it distracted. Don't stop." I vaulted over a mannequin, swinging the crowbar down on its lens. Glass cracked, static bleeding out like smoke. The rest turned their heads in sync, lenses narrowing. I ran down the aisle. Chairs collapsed sideways as if unseen spectators leapt away from me. The mannequins followed. Their joints squealed sharp. "Subject escalating," the voice announced. "Final scene adapting." The exit door loomed ahead. I slammed through it into a narrow corridor. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, half dead. The monitors along the walls lit again. My sprint replayed across them, except the version running in the feed slowed, looked directly at the camera, and raised a crowbar toward me. I swung at the monitor. Glass rained down. The corridor tilted sideways. The floor bent like a stage set collapsing. I grabbed a railing, forcing myself upright. "Flynn!" Sienna barked in my ear. "I see the tower. Override ahead." "Good. Keep moving. I'll buy you time." Static roared through the vents above. A mannequin dropped from the ceiling in front of me, its frame breaking on impact before standing upright again. Its lens glowed white. I slammed the crowbar straight through its chest. The glass shattered, static vomiting out. But the monitors replayed it differently, showing me impaled instead, frozen mid-collapse. "Subject substitution complete," the voice announced. The monitors all showed me dying, again and again. I staggered forward, ignoring them. The corridor stretched longer than before, doors vanishing as if erased. I ran, forcing my boots against shifting tiles. A countdown blared from hidden speakers, 5 minutes to finale. I yelled into the earpiece, "Sienna, it's accelerating." Her reply crackled, "Override nearly, hold them." The mannequins poured through a side hatch, dozens now, lenses clacking. They surged behind me, faster than before. I smashed the crowbar against the nearest wall panel. Sparks blinded me. Wires split open, spraying static. The mannequins convulsed, cameras twitching, some collapsing to the floor. The countdown continued, 4 minutes. I shoved through another door at the hall's end. Inside was a broadcast hub, smaller than Sienna's target but alive with screens. Every screen showed her. Running tunnels, cables whipping behind her, face sharp and fast. "Override subject Sienna engaged," the system intoned. I stared at the feed. The system wasn't just tracking her. It was writing her ending. "Not today," I muttered, swinging the crowbar into the nearest rack. Screens exploded. Sparks poured. The images of Sienna froze mid-step. The intercom screamed louder than ever. Applause denied. Subject erasure commencing. The mannequins outside the room screamed with it, their cameras warping into twisted spirals. "Flynn!" Sienna's voice ripped through my ear. "It's locking onto me, hurry!" I tore at another rack, ripping wires free. My arms ached, but I kept tearing. The countdown thundered, 3 minutes. I spun to the monitors again. Sienna's image warped, her face melting into static, her outline erasing piece by piece. "No," I growled, smashing another tower. The feed sputtered, then blinked out completely. The voice hissed through broken speakers. "You deny the audience, then you must replace." The door burst open. Mannequins poured in, their frames convulsing. I raised the crowbar high, then watched this instead. I charged into them, swinging wild, sparks and glass spraying across the hub. The countdown roared, 2 minutes. The overhead lights slammed on in sequence, each bulb buzzing with static. Rows of mannequins clapped in jerky rhythm. "Final display, commence," the loudspeakers ordered. The count hit 1 minute. I bolted through the aisle. Shopping carts rattled in pursuit. Sienna's voice cut through the comms. "Flynn, override's nearly done. Hold them off 30 more seconds." "Not sure I've got 30. I swung a broken tripod at the nearest mannequin. Plastic cracked, wires dangled from its skull. It didn't fall. The hunger stepped into the light. Its monitor head glitched between static and my own stream replaying on loop. Cash register fingers clattered against the floor tiles. I grabbed the crowbar. "Come on!" I shouted, forcing myself forward. The swing connected, sparks flying as the metal bit into escalator rail legs. The creature shrieked through a feedback screech, screens across the food court flickering in unison. "Flynn!" Sienna again. "It's rewriting the exit doors into stage props. Smash anything glowing red. Do it now." I sprinted toward the storefront barriers. Neon exit signs blinked, then folded into letters spelling perform. I smashed the first with the crowbar. Glass rained down. The countdown voice cracked. "Error. Error. 5 seconds lost." Mannequins surged, arms outstretched. I vaulted a bench, ring light dangling from my backpack. The glow caught shifting text on the mall directory. It now read, "Casting complete." "Sienna, what's your status?" I barked. "System fighting me." But hold on. Static drowned her words. The hunger dragged itself after me, sparks scattering across tiles. Every screen now displayed my subscriber count climbing in real time. 10 million, 11, 12. Comments scrolled across glass. "Run longer. Make it bloodier. Don't die yet." I smashed another glowing sign. Sparks burst. The PA wailed. 15 seconds lost. Audience anger level rising. The mannequins froze, then began slapping their hands together faster. The noise thundered through the court. From the rafters, something heavy dropped. A mannequin twisted into the shape of Lyric Shaw. Its screen mouth hissed, "Stay on stream. They want more." I shoved past, ignoring the replay of her face. The hunger swiped. Cash register keys scraped my shoulder. I spun and jammed the crowbar into its torso. Metal bent. Rotten merchandise spilled from its shopping cart chest. Bloodied receipts, snapped sunglasses, chunks of flesh. "Flynn!" Sienna screamed over the comms. "Override armed. Smash your ring light against the nearest camera node, then run." "Say that again?" "Just do it. Now." I ripped the ring light from my pack and hurled it into a ceiling camera. Sparks burst overhead. The lights dimmed. Monitors went black for half a second. The hunger shrieked. Screens flared back, this time showing Sienna in real time. She was still outside, hammering at a security console. Behind her, the parking lot distorted like heat ripples. The PA thundered, "Subject replacement ready. Solo performance cannot end." Mannequins turned their heads toward me in unison. Every faceplate displayed Sienna's features. "Sienna!" I shouted. "It's copying you." "I know." Her voice broke with static. "Get to the anchor store. That's your only shot." I sprinted, lungs tearing. The anchor doors loomed ahead, warped into theater curtains made of security grills. I rammed through. Inside, racks of clothing twisted into seats filled with mannequins, each one glitching between decades. 1987 shoppers, 2004 families, 2019 clearance scavengers, all clapping in sync. The countdown hit 20 seconds. The hunger stepped onto the stage. Its monitor head now displayed both me and Sienna, split screen. I hurled the crowbar, cracked across the monitor. Static poured out, a scream laced with corrupted audio. "Applause required," the PA roared. The mannequins raised their arms, clapping louder. On the comms, Sienna yelled, "One last smash. Whatever screen is biggest, break it." I spotted it, the mall's central jumbotron hanging above the anchor floor. It flickered between emergency alerts. "Do not enter. Final display. Audience anger critical." I climbed a toppled escalator rail, mannequins clawing below. "Flynn, hurry!" Sienna shouted. The hunger leapt, arms swinging. I yanked a shard of glass and jammed it into the wiring above. Sparks erupted. The Jumbotron exploded in a shower of static. Every screen went dark. The PA choked, repeating, "Error, error, cast interrupted." Silence dropped. Mannequins froze mid-clap. The hunger convulsed, collapsing into a heap of twisted rails and mannequins stitched together. Then the lights snapped back. A final alert blared through the mall. Broadcast terminated. Subject release granted. The main doors creaked open. I staggered through, night air slicing across me. Outside, Sienna stood near the console, her face pale, hair whipped by wind. "You made it," she gasped. I nodded, glancing back at the mall. The mannequins were motionless, heads turned toward us. Sienna whispered, "We killed the feed." I checked my phone. The subscriber count still climbed 13,014,000. A new alert appeared across the screen. Stream archived. Replaying worldwide. I showed her. Her hand shook on the console. "It didn't end," she said. From inside the mall, static laughter echoed. The mannequins began clapping again, slow and deliberate. My phone buzzed once more. An alert slid across the display. "Emergency alert. Subject release confirmed. Rehearsal complete. Encore scheduled. Do not enter." I looked at Sienna. She stared back, expression blank. Behind her, new mannequins were already lining the parking lot windows. One wore her jacket. Another had my cracked tripod fused into its arm. The mall's lights flared bright. Across the horizon, distant malls lit up in sequence, one by one. Sienna whispered, "It's spreading." My phone buzzed again, notification after notification, thousands per second. New followers, new comments, stream reuploads tagged #SilentMallEncore. I backed away from the doors. "We need to warn." The alert cut me off, blasting louder than before. "Do not enter." Static swallowed the words, then clearer. "Enter." The screen froze on my own face, bloodied and grainy. It looped, endlessly repeating,